young man or lady. Let me tell you the story of one of your favorite websites as I knew it back in my day. It's story time.
YouTube's an amazing thing. It allows us to see funny videos like all the cat videos out there. We can also see these amazing stunts that people do, incredible human beings. And YouTube can even make you a star. But this video is about the real stars, vegan YouTubers. They will save the world.
Wow, poor me. Someone said something mean on the internet to me.
Go fruit yourself.
Now, you know I want everyone to be vegan because I don't like animal farming and I hate to see people I love eating a diet that's damaging their health. But how do you go about getting others to change your lifestyle when a lot of people see veganism as they would an affliction, like emphysema or athlete's foot?
When it comes to nutrition, and especially when it comes to vegan nutrition, we tend to focus on what we're not getting enough of and the dire consequences of nutritional deficiencies. What about our protein, iron, zinc, B12, omegas, and on and on? And while these concerns are important, the truth is, at least in America, it's not what you're not getting enough of that will kill you, but what you're getting too much of.
Hi, my name's Ellen, this is Elvis. We live a high-carb, low-fat, raw vegan lifestyle. And yesterday I recorded everything Elvis ate that day. So I'm bringing to you part 2, or day 2, of what my raw vegan baby ate today.
So the reason I started on this film is because I couldn't understand for the life of me why humans still can't get along with each other.
Just want to start the video off with a small warning. I am definitely not here to attack you or try to make you feel bad. All I want to do is bring awareness and help you understand all the things that I have come to learn and that have in turn made me become a passionate vegan.
Today we're going to share with you guys something you might not know about us. We were actually raised vegan. Sounds crazy, right? But to us, it's not crazy at all. What a vegan is, if you don't know what it is, you don't eat any animal products. You don't eat meat, you don't eat cheese, dairy, eggs. Seems like a lot of stuff you can't eat, but really there's a lot of stuff you can eat.
Hey YouTube, this is Klaus in the Greenhouse. Welcome to my niece channel.
Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan.
It's like vegans get accused of being angry and upset and uptight all the time. Like, people who expose themselves to the worst of humanity and still manage to wake up every morning and speak to people, they're like a bloody inspiration to me.
Because I am, look, on the one side, this eating mindfully and vegan seems to be the solution to nutrition, to health, to global warming.
Yes, absolutely.
When it comes to our environment, vegans know their facts.
The meat, egg, and dairy industries are literally killing the planet.
Just another reason why you should go vegan right now.
Right now.
According to Cowspiracy, which is a documentary on Netflix that you should go and watch,
Animal agriculture is responsible for a staggering amount of global destruction.
Climate change.
The entire transportation sector, we're talking cars, buses, trains, boats, airplanes, all of it accounts for 13% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Animal agriculture, 51%.
You can reduce your carbon footprint by 50% just by going vegan.
Water use. Taking shorter showers is great and everything, but every time you eat a beef hamburger, that's 660 gallons of water. That's 2 months of showers.
To put it in other terms, about 5% of US water use is domestic. So like washing your clothes and your dishes, gardening, all that stuff. Animal agriculture accounts for 55% of US water use. Deforestation.
1 to 2 acres of rainforests are cleared every second. That is a huge problem. And animal agriculture accounts for 91% of Amazon destruction.
And 110 animal and insect species are lost every single day because of rainforest destruction. So that was a lot of facts. But the bottom line, the best thing you can do for the planet is just to go vegan.
The point I'm trying to make is we care about the oceans. Our hearts are breaking for what's happening in the oceans. We've got to do something about it. And we're always talking about what are the action items when we make a documentary. You know, what are we asking people to do? What are the changes they can make in their daily life? Well, I'm going to tell you one. I watched that film, Forks Over Knives. I went into the kitchen. I took everything out of the kitchen that was not a plant. And for 5.5 months, I've eaten only plants. No meat, no dairy, no eggs, no fish. As Sylvia's always saying, if you want to save the fish, just don't eat them. Right? I'm healthier, I've got more energy, my cardio endurance has about doubled. I used to run 20, 25 minutes, I'm now running an hour. It's amazing, but setting aside the health benefits, how often do you get that kind of incredible win-win where you can really transform the planet? And it's possible. You got to check the facts for yourselves. You're not going to believe it hearing it from me. But I want to challenge everybody here. If you're an environmentalist, I say, my challenge is, you can't be an environmentalist. You can't be an ocean steward without truly walking the walk. And you can't walk the walk in the world of the future, the world ahead of us, the world of our children, not eating a plant-based diet.
What's the best thing you can do to fight world hunger?
Go vegan.
Correct.
And we're gonna tell you why.
Starting
now.
It's no secret that world hunger is a huge, crazy problem that affects people around the world.
About 925 million people don't have enough to eat.
That's more than the populations of the United States, Canada, and the European Union combined.
Every 12 seconds, a child dies from a hunger-related disease.
That's about 7,100 children every single day.
So what does that have to do with going vegan?
Let's say we have 13 pounds of grain. With that much grain, we could do one of two things. One, we could feed it to a cow and get 1 pound of meat, or we could just feed that grain to an entire village.
Looking at it another way, if we had 1 acre of land, we could raise cattle and kill them and get 20 pounds of meat. Or on that same acre of land, we could grow 365 pounds of soybeans and feed 17 times more people. So what's the point? The point is we have enough food on the planet to feed everybody. We already grow enough.
But we're feeding it to cows and pigs and chickens, and as a result, we're getting a fraction of the nutritional value back. People deserve better. Help stop the waste of grain and corn and soy and go vegan. It's better for you, it's better for the animals, and it's better for everyone else on this planet.
The root of all evil is our obsession with animal protein.
I have a new book out. It's called Proteinaholic, Our Obsession with Meat and Why It's Killing Us. And I wrote this book because probably the biggest problem I got getting people to change their diet was this obsession with protein. The more I educated myself, the more shocked I was. More shocked I was that people don't know about this, that other doctors don't know about this, that medical schools aren't teaching this. And the simple fact that a plant-based diet could just change your life and every disease that I treat.
Yeah! Bring the power! Time to end this suffering. I need a minute to myself. Yeah, I'll never get to me. What can't be done, I'll do myself.
My name is David Carter, aka the 300-pound vegan. That's my superhero name. I'm a 300-pound vegan football player, and I'm known for breaking the stereotype of that you have to eat meat to be big and strong, and then gain weight and be muscular.
5 years ago, a California lawyer turned himself into one of the fittest men on the planet. He's an inspiration for everyone, I'll tell you, especially dads like myself. Want to improve our diets and our all-around health. He's also written a best-selling book. It's called Finding Ultra, Rejecting Middle Age, Becoming One of the World's Fittest Men, and Discovering Myself.
To earn the title, you have to beat thousands of other competitors in a 6-mile swim, followed by a 260-mile bike ride, and then a 53-mile run. Rich Roll, a lawyer and a father of 4, is one of them.
I could probably put these on over my jeans.
But it wasn't always so. This is Rich 4 years ago, 50 pounds overweight.
You know, I had a moment on these stairs where I was like, I had to stop and take a break before I could get to the top of the stairs. I was winded.
That night, he committed to change, and his transformation to Ultraman began.
I couldn't have imagined it. I didn't think it was possible. It wasn't even anything that was on my mind.
You were sitting on the couch a lot watching television.
Yeah.
Eating pizza, Cheetos, dairy, a lot of dairy.
Yeah, a lot of dairy.
The bad food, well, that was one of the first things to go.
This was a big part of your change, I mean, in the kitchen.
This is the cockpit.
That's the cockpit.
This is the HQ.
Today, he fuels his body on a completely plant-based vegan diet, eating fruits and vegetables as close to their natural state as possible. No more meat, no cheese, no eggs, no fish, no dairy.
Here's the reality. All life on this earth comes from where? Sun. Every drop of protein is in a leaf. The foods that have the most protein in it are the foods with the most sunlight in it. Again, I'll repeat. This is the most protein-rich diet on the planet Earth. You're looking at somebody that hasn't touched anything but plant-based protein for 40 years. Do I look like I'm dead? I have 4 children that never, ever in their life touched meat or dairy food. Never in their life touched. 3 are men and women. I'm a grandfather. Okay. They flourish. They never missed a day of school. We've put over 250,000 people on this diet. They get better from catastrophic disease. Propaganda love is pervasive. When you and I were little girls and boys, they gave us free milk. They manipulated education in your books. On the television, they do it. They actually pervaded the medical industry. And the food and medical industry, or pharmaceutical industry, basically work hand in hand in some of these schemes together. And it's scary. It really is scary. 60% of the world's population today is plant-based eating. You and I are in a minority country. You know, we always think we're so arrogant in the West. Oh, look at us, we're the center of the universe. We're full of crap. Because 60% of the world still, they basically eat plant-based diets. Who are the sickest people in the world? Who are the healthiest people in the world? You know.
This is a dramatic representation of what happens when you eat a high-fat meal, whether it's vegetable fat or animal fat. Initially, the blood cells, they flow by each other very smoothly. They actually repel each other, the cell membranes do, and you have this rapid, effective blood flow throughout the body. Then you eat the fat, vegetable or animal fat, goes through the gut, into the bloodstream, coats the blood cells, and now they hit, stick, clumps, sludge, and now you have ineffective circulation. This affects the whole body. You feel sleepy and sluggish. People who have narrowed heart arteries, they get chest pain. This clumping and sludging causes the blood pressure to go up, and it continues, this sludging, for about 10 to 12 hours after you eat. And finally, after about 10 to 12 hours, the blood starts to break up, and we then have normal, effective circulation.
Robust would be one way to describe Dr. Ellsworth Warren. The 100-year-old retired heart surgeon occasionally does his own yard work. He walks regularly, still drives.
You drove here today.
Driving is nothing. I worked till I was 95, assisting, mind you.
Yeah.
I could have done heart surgery, but it wouldn't have been fair to the patient because sometimes you need reserve strength. If you gave me something to memorize, I would memorize it just as quickly now as I would when I was 20.
How is your health?
Oh, superb. I haven't got an acre of pain.
The great-grandfather believes his plant-based diet plays a big part in all this.
If your blood cholesterol is under 150, your chances of having a heart attack are pretty small. Now, my blood cholesterol is 117. There's no chance of me having a heart attack.
So you're heart attack proof.
Let us say I'm dealing in an area which I understand.
This is a beautiful example of what atherosclerosis looks like. There it is. And I'm going to just gently tug on this now.
I love it.
It's a little hard to pull. Dr. Kupot, if you could give a little pull too. We'll see if we can get this thing out.
We are just holding our breath so that you will finish the cake.
There it is. America's #1 killer right there before your eyes.
The short answer is
I went on essentially a plant-based diet. I live on beans, legumes, vegetables, fruit. I drink a protein supplement every morning, no dairy. I drink almond milk mixed in with fruit and a protein powder, so I get the protein for the day when I start the day out. And it changed my whole metabolism, and I lost 24 pounds, and I got back to basically what I weighed in high school. But I did it for a different reason. I mean, I wanted to lose a little weight, but I didn't ever dream this would happen. I did it because after I had this stent put in, I realized that even though it happens quite often that after you have bypasses, you lose the veins because they're thinner and weaker than arteries. The truth is that it clogged up, which means that the cholesterol was still causing buildup in my vein that was part of my bypass. And thank God I could take the stents. I don't want it to happen again. So I did all this research, and I saw that 82% of the people since 1986 who have gone on a plant-based, no dairy, no meat of any kind, no chicken, turkey. I eat very little fish. Once in a while I'll have a little fish, not often. If you can do it, 82% of the people who've done that have begun to heal themselves. Their arterial blockage cleans up. The calcium deposit around their heart breaks up. This movement has been led by a doctor named Caldwell Esselstyn at the Cleveland Clinic, Dean Ornish, whom you know, out in California, the doctors Campbell, father and son, who wrote the China study, and a handful of others.
Mainstream media is afraid to tell you the truth. Vegan YouTubers will.
If you just watch an episode or two of them, they have a very not only pro-meat, but very pro-dairy and pro-egg message. They're really hip on those foods, which is kind of surprising because we've been hearing for a long time about the dangers of, say, saturated fat, cholesterol, and the like. So what's up? Why are the doctors so gung-ho on these foods?
Cheese, what's beautiful, I talk about in the book, cheese, butter, it's all back.
Wow, cheese is back? What happened?
What's crazy is cheese has gotten a bad rap. But if you look at cheese, cheese is actually a really good source of protein and calcium. And so it's okay to have some cheese on your nachos.
Ah, I get it. As long as the food has lots of protein and calcium, then it's totally okay to ignore all of its bad stuff. Let's take a look. 3/4 of cheese's calories come from fat, and half of that is saturated fat. It's got a good dose of cholesterol as well, but who cares? This stuff has protein.
When you look up here and you see that white creamy stuff, you think unhealthy, right?
Yes, we do.
That's Greek yogurt.
Sour cream. Oh, okay, it's Greek yogurt.
Tell me if you notice the difference.
No.
That is health food. That is weight loss food.
Really? So Greek yogurt is healthy weight loss food? Again, 3/4 of its calories come from fat, and nearly all of that fat is saturated fat. And plenty of cholesterol again. But maybe he meant it's healthy because it has so much fiber and vitamin C. Oh, no, because it's got essentially none of that stuff. Dr. Stork is clearly ignoring 50+ years of diet research demonstrating the health risks of saturated fat in our diets. Instead, he's going with this trend of the past few years that, yeah, saturated fat, it's not that bad. In fact, it's kind of good for you. Well, where does that come from? This whole trend comes from a 2010 study which said that saturated fat was not associated with an increased risk of coronary heart disease or stroke. People sure love to cite this one study as debunking the saturated fat myth. Well, what they don't tell you is that this study was funded by none other than the National Dairy Council. So who are you going to believe? 50 years of diet research or one study funded by the National Dairy Council, which just happened to find that those 50 years of studies were wrong and actually it's good to have dairy.
Mainstream media is influenced by their advertisers and their personal taste. Vegan YouTubers are telling you the facts.
When you're an adult, extra growth can mean a tumor. How do our cells know when to tip the balance in favor of more dividing and less dying, and when to come back into balance? Well, a key signal is IGF-1, a growth hormone called insulin-like growth factor number 1. Levels go up when you're a kid, so you grow, and then come back down. Should your levels stay a bit too high as an adult, though, there's this constant message to our cells. Grow, 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 divide, don't die, keep going, keep growing. And so, not surprisingly, the more IGF-1 we have in our bloodstream, the higher our risk for cancer. More IGF-1, more prostate cancer. More IGF-1, more breast cancer. Just a few days of walking and eating whole healthy plant foods, and our IGF-1 levels drop low enough to reverse cancer cell growth. What if we stick with it? Going to some predicant spa and getting healthy for 2 weeks is one thing, but what about long term? Does your IGF-1 start to creep back up to standard American diet levels again? No. Here's after 11 days, and it just gets better. People eating plant-based diets for 14 years have half the IGF-1 in their bodies, and more than twice the amount of IGF-1 binding protein than those on the standard American diet. We know decreasing animal product consumption decreases our IGF-1 levels, but how low do you gotta go? How plant-based does our diet need to get? Well, let's look at IGF-1 levels in meat eaters versus vegetarians versus vegans. The aim of this study was to determine whether a plant-based diet is associated with a lower circulating level of IGF-1 compared with a meat-eating or lacto-ovo vegetarian diet. And this is what they found. Only the vegans had significantly lower levels, and the same relationship found with IGF-1 binding capacity. Only the vegans were significantly more able to bind up excess IGF-1 in their bloodstreams.
You want to read something really, really provocative, read Dr. Campbell's book. Dr. Colin Campbell is known internationally as being the most renowned nutritionist who's ever lived. He's a very, very, very ethical guy, ethical scientist, and came out and said, you should be a vegan. And he was the key man in the United States to tell Americans what to eat. And he wanted to announce to the American public, give up meat and dairy food. Well, you know how long he kept his job. And he had to go to China when it was very much communist, because they appropriated him money. They gave him millions of dollars to do his research, where in North America and in Europe, we wouldn't give that to him. That's how influential the lobbies are for these industries. And literally put out the landmark study on diet. There'll never have to be another one done again. That's how brilliant it is. 50 years of research, called the China study.
Animal protein, as we started doing the research, we could, experimentally, we could turn on the growth of these cells. They go much more rapidly when they were fed animal protein.
Vegan YouTubers give you another perspective on cancer.
Go fruit yourself.
The time has come in America to launch an intensive campaign to find a cure for cancer.
Our recovery plan will invest in electronic health records. It will launch a new effort to conquer a disease that has touched the life of nearly every American by seeking a cure for cancer in our time.
Since the war on cancer began in 1971, more than 14,800,000 Americans have died from some form of the disease. 1,500 die every day. That's 565,000 men, women, and children in 2009 alone. More people will die from cancer in this country in the next 3 years than all the American soldiers who died fighting since the American Revolution.
From 1920 to the present time, we have made little or no progress in the treatment of adult cancers. So a person who gets prostate cancer or breast cancer today will live as long as a person who got it in 1920. No big change. With all the radiation therapy that we began in the 10s and 20s, combination chemotherapy in the 60s, immunotherapy that began in the 70s, PET scans, MRI scans, you name it, billions and billions and billions of research dollars that we've thrown into this whole area of cancer research and treatment, little or no significant progress in the treatment of adult cancers.
They will burn it, they'll cut it out, or they'll try to poison it.
Heavy trading today in the biopharma sector.
Blockbuster cancer drug Erbitux racked up nearly $425 million in sales.
You have this entire industry that is not going to just pack up and go away. This is a business.
I really want to help them, and I don't know where to start. I don't know what to tell them, and can you help? Can you please help? So this video is for that, okay? That's what this video is about. If you have cancer and you're watching this right now, chances are it's because someone who cares about you very much took the time to send this to you. And so I'm going to tell you a quick version of my story, and I'm also going to tell you what I wish someone had told me. when I was diagnosed about cancer. So first off, I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer when I was 26 years old. I was rushed into surgery. I was told I would need 9 to 12 months of chemotherapy, but I refused chemotherapy, and instead I radically changed my diet and lifestyle. I basically overdosed on nutrition with tons of juicing and giant salads and fruit smoothies, tons of fruits and vegetables from the earth.
From our experiences with centenarians, the Blue Zone Expedition team has assembled 8 simple secrets that we believe can help the average American get up to 8 good years of life. First, eat a plant-based diet. Emphasize nuts, beans, and some tofu. It doesn't mean you can't eat any meat at all. It just means limited portions twice a week. Number 2, get regular low-intensity exercise. The key for the long run is not doing marathons, not pumping iron. It's low-intensity things like gardening or walking with your friends. Or I think the best thing is playing with your children. Not only do you get the physical activity, but you also better the relationship with your children. Number 3, invest in family. That doesn't mean being an ATM for your children, but rather it does mean maybe knocking off of work a couple hours early to spend that time with your kids. Number 4, practice a communal faith. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, or Jewish. The point is that once a week or so, you come together as a community. You're much less likely to engage in risky behaviors, and you have scheduled meditation every week. That reduces stress. Number 5, identify what your sense of purpose is. The Okinawans call it ikigai, the reason for which they wake up in the morning. This sense of purpose seems to propel people to their 90s, even their 100s. Number 6, hara hachi bu. This simple reminder to push yourself away from the table when your stomach is 80% full will not only help you reach age 100, it'll help you do so fit and thin. Number 7, you can feel free to drink a little bit of wine at the end of every day. People who drink 1 to 2 glasses of wine a day live longer than people who don't drink at all. Number 8, build a personal longevity culture. These spry centenarians never belonged to a gym, they never signed up for any diet program. But what they all had in common is they either all were born into or consciously joined a group of people who help reinforce the right behaviors. Science has not figured out how we can turn back our body's clock, but we can all get more good years out of life and more life out of our years. The answers lie with the time-honored practices of the world's longest-lived people. These are the centenarians we met in the Blue Zones. Exploring the world's longest-lived cultures can change our lives. Their stories can move us, motivate us, teach us. All we need to do is take the time to listen.
Doctors are not taught nutrition in medical school, but there are some doctors who are speaking against their peers.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you walk into the doctor's office, well-intentioned as she or he may be, they have treatments that are mutilating and toxic. I mean, radiation and chemotherapy and surgery are brutal. Okay, brutal is okay if benefits follow, but the benefits don't follow. I mean, they do, but not the benefits you want. You're going in for a cure. You to practice this way, in my humble opinion, is criminal.
It's appalling.
Did I say that on internet? Did I call this behavior criminal on internet? Maybe somebody will hear this. Maybe a doctor will hear this and will respond that Dr. McDougall thinks that his or her practice of mutilating women with amputations of the breast and all these other treatments are criminal. You will not have any physician.
No.
You can write on my discussion board where everybody can see it. You'll have no physician go to the discussion board and call me out as misinforming you or lying to you or exaggerating. No one will do that. They may say behind my back, oh, that Dr. McDougall, he's kind of a goofy guy. But they're never going to say that because they know I'm right.
Doctor, you hit on the third leading cause of death in the United States. And I'm sure most of us could figure it's either heart-related or cancer or diabetes, things like that. Can you clue us into what that is and why?
Yeah, okay, and thank you for asking that because this is the 10,000-pound gorilla in the room that nobody's talking about. The third leading cause of death, as published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, is MD-directed treatments. This means you go to a medical doctor, an MD, He gives you a treatment and you die from it.
One of my favorite vegan YouTubers is Timothy Shieff.
I'm Tim Shieff and I'm here with Peta. I'm 2.5 years into veganism, healthier, happier than I've ever been before, and no animals are getting messed with. Since going vegan, I actually noticed an improvement in my joint recovery. With free running is quite a strenuous activity, a lot of impact on the joints and bones. And when I actually went vegan, I noticed that I could train more frequently throughout the day, day after day, and not feel the same strains and impacts. I had tendonitis that completely cleared up. Anything with sweet potato in, that's my staple. I believe strongly as an athlete you need to live a high carb, low fat vegan lifestyle to be optimal health, and sweet potatoes really give me those carbs, those nutrients that I need, that I crave, that make me feel good. I enjoy it as well, and you can do it in so many different recipes. I don't think it's hard for any human that wants to live compassionately to really relate the death and torture that's gone into meat and dairy. And once you connect with that, it's not a hard decision to go vegan.
No vegan YouTuber is more powerful than Kerry Yourofsky.
Well, first of all, I'm here to speak on behalf of the most oppressed, most abused, most murdered group of beings that has ever existed.
I mean, when was the last time a chicken or a cow attacked a human being? How about never? A pig, a turkey, never. We're the ones that attack them. Cows have harmed nobody. Chickens have harmed nobody. We are murdering innocent beings. We send them to slaughterhouses. They know what's going on. They're aware. They're conscious. They smell death and fear and blood in the air. We cut them up into pieces. The animals are not willing participants. We're teaching them that it's okay to disregard animal life, that human life is more sacred than animals, when every creature on this planet values their life just like humans value their life. We all suffer in the same way. We all feel pain in the same way. A knife in my throat is just as painful and harmful as a knife in a cow's throat, in a chicken's throat. Because people don't realize how much they're harming animals in their daily lives. Most people I know aren't evil people, but most people don't realize their daily choices support evil. So if you put a knife in my hand when I was growing up, even though I ate meat, said, hey Gary, go kill that cow, Billy, you must be crazy. I'm not sticking that knife in somebody else's throat. So we pay other people to do it. So I want to reach those people that are passively evil, that passively take part in this, and that's the masses. So I'm just pointing this out to everybody, because people don't realize how much they're harming animals in their daily lives. So as I point out, the steak, the hamburger, the chicken sandwich that you're eating, the schnitzel, okay, these pieces of meat came off the bodies of living animals who didn't want to be murdered, who didn't want to suffer and die, who didn't want to be tormented. It is the most profitable business on this planet since the beginning of time, animal slavery. Nothing comes close. Not cars, not gasoline, not oil, not computers. Nothing compares to the amount of money being made off the backs of animals, literally. I want to show people what's going on, because if you watch the news, if you watch TV, the advertisements are happy cows. So I went to a slaughterhouse on my own to see what was going on. I heard their screams. I smelled death in the air. One of the most disgusting things, to smell fear and death. Why don't they show you slaughterhouses and say, hey, this is where your hamburger comes from. This is where your chicken nuggets come from. They intentionally lie to you. I don't lie. I intentionally tell you the truth, because I think if you saw what was going on in the slaughterhouse, no logical person could choose to continue to eat animal flesh. It is sad that we can't talk to kids about the truth about what's going on in the world. Every second, just so you know, of every minute, of every hour, of every day, female animals are raped to impregnate them. Every second, animals are being killed. In America today, 30 million innocent beings will be murdered for a sandwich. Well, we're talking 12 million people were killed by the Nazis. In 1 year alone on this planet, 60 billion land animals, 90 billion marine animals are tortured, tormented, and killed. in the world's most massive Holocaust. That's just in 1 year alone.
And when we teach children that the Jewish Holocaust was evil, but then we send animals to their death to the slaughterhouses in the same extermination trucks that sent Jews to their death, we're committing a gross error.
Remember, I don't do things to be a politician. I don't say things that people want me to say. I speak the truth, and the truth is harsh. I know people don't want to hear that there's a Holocaust taking place that they're taking part in, but that's a fact.
I call human beings murderers of animals. That's what we do. That's the truth. The truth is harsh.
They must look at us like we are devils. We cut things off their bodies, their horns while they're fully conscious, off the cows. We cut the beaks off of hens. We rip the testicles out of baby pigs when they're born. We have treated our cousins in fur and feathers so horribly that beyond a doubt, if they ever formed an organized religion, the devil would be depicted in human form. Put yourself in the animal's position. Imagine somebody raped you to impregnate you. You gave birth to this baby. This baby was stolen from you at birth. That baby was fattened up with corn and soy and wheat and oats. That baby was put on a concentration camp truck, sent to a slaughterhouse, hung upside down, fully conscious in front of all of her own species, screaming, terrified, in fear, knife shoved into, her throat, cut up into pieces. Where's the justification for this? This is why vegans get so militant, because I don't want to be a two-legged devil to the animals or to anybody. No injustice can live forever. Sadly, injustice can live for hundreds or even thousands of years, but no lie can last forever, and people are becoming aware change is slow. It took 400 years to convince white people in America not to own blacks. You can see why this is taking so long.
I speak against speciesism in the same way Nelson Mandela spoke against racism.
We live on a planet that murders animals, a speciesistic planet. Understand, like a racist who thinks that their race is better than another race. Speciesists think that the human species is superior to animals, and we have the right to harm and kill any species we choose. Where do humans get off owning and controlling living beings? Do you know that if you took humans off this planet, the extinction of humans would benefit everything that exists, the animals, the forest, the air, the water, the mountains? If the bees disappear, everything falls apart. This is how special and valuable bees are to the world. The issue is we just need to change the way we view animals. We have to realize humans aren't the only beings on this planet, and we're not more important than animals. Because this is the first form of the hatred humans are taught. Racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, heterosexism, these are branches of hatred. The root is speciesism. When you're a kid growing up, you're taught, hey, be nice to the dog, be nice to the cat. But that cow, that chicken, yeah, he doesn't count. Just kill them, screw them. Be nice to the horse. Be upset when somebody poaches a rhino. Be upset if somebody cuts the fins off of a shark. Hey, but that turkey, kill him. It's Thanksgiving, it's a holiday. So the kid is confused growing up. So when we get down to talking about discrimination and why it's wrong, where it comes from, it all stems from that somebody looks and acts differently than you. If you taught a child growing up that, hey, just because that chicken looks differently than you do, that chicken has every right to live. That spider has every right to live, just like you do. How is that child going to grow up and look at a different person who's a different size, shape, and color? How is that kid going to look at that person in hatred, with violence? Speciesism, by eradicating that, we can bring peace to this planet. You said my steak. I'm very big on language. That steak was never yours. Okay, that steak is a euphemism, by the way. That's cow flesh. That flesh belonged to another living being. So we always want to say leather when it's cow skin. Even the terms bacon. What's bacon? You mean pig flesh? 75% of the animals on this planet are herbivores. Of course. But why do we try to justify human behavior based on lion behavior or shark behavior? Notice you have clothes on. And I notice that you have a cell phone and you have a computer. It is unfair to pick one thing that lions do that you want to mimic when you don't want to mimic anything else they do. You notice that convenient argument? We just want to do what the lions do when they eat antelope. You put a 2-year-old child in a crib with a bunny rabbit and an apple. Let me know when the child eats the bunny rabbit and plays with the apple. We are purely herbivorous. We have no carnivorous or omnivorous instincts whatsoever. It's an unfair comparison. You're not a lion, and just so you know, lions are carnivores. Humans are not. We are herbivores, 100% up and down, physiologically. If your jaw moves from side to side in a grinding motion and you chew,
you're 100% herbivore. If you were a meat eater like a lion, your jaw would only go like this, up and down, rip and swallow. If you sweat through your pores to cool yourself, you're herbivore.
See, the problem that I have is when people lie about why they harm animals, that animals don't think, that they can't feel, that they're not smart, that I need my protein, that we can do it in a humane way. See, we can't throw this word humane out there when we're talking about rape, torture, and murder. You can't put the word humane next to it. So if I go and meet a woman at a bar, I buy her some drinks, I bring her some flowers, I take her back and put on some soft music, some Teddy Pendergrass, and we dance and we look in each other's eyes, and I slip her a date rape drug and rape her. Is that humane? Why not? She didn't feel a thing. See, because the act of rape is evil, okay? The act of murder is evil. You can't do it in a nice way. Okay, we have to stop thinking that there's a nice way. In fact, you know what the nice way to kill is? Not to kill.
That's a nice way.
I noticed that religious people love to worship things that we created in God's name. The Bible, the Quran, Stars of David, the cross, but nobody worships anything that God created. It's the water, pollute it, the air, pollute it. The force, cut it down. Anything that God made, we destroy. Anything that we made in God's name, we worship. So my condemnation isn't about God, it's about what religious people do in God's name.
Over the years, as I've talked to tens of thousands of people, I've noticed that people who have been oppressed, Jews, Hispanics, women, blacks, they always respond better to this revolution that I'm involved in because they understand oppression. They've been through it. They know what it's like to be treated like nothing, like their lives don't matter.
People who have been harmed understand why it's wrong to harm somebody else. So I want to eradicate the lies and get down to the issues at hand.
I'll show you hospitals full of people with heart disease, cancers, diabetes, osteoporosis, kidney problems, etc., all stemming from animal protein, the main cause of every major disease on this planet.
Now, here's what I love about the health benefits of veganism. When you're being altruistic, you should never expect anything in return.
Right.
When you're vegan, you get a lot of great things in return. Your health, you're good to the earth. Because let's face it, the worst form of environmental destruction is animal agriculture.
That's right.
So there are some great benefits and kickbacks, but without a clear conscience, without mental health, we can't have physical health. So if you're going to focus on the physical health aspects and miss this aspect, you're still not right.
I think when you put violence in, you get violence out. You consume discrimination and death, you're going to, exude the same horrible things.
What's wrong with somebody choosing to be compassionate, choosing to be good to the environment, so children don't have to starve to death around the world while we're feeding 50% of the world's crops to 60 billion land animals in the meat, dairy, and egg industries? And find peace on this planet by eradicating speciesism. You can start, giving compassion to the animal kingdom, to the insect kingdom. Then you start living peacefully with the planet and with each other. And peace begins at the dinner table. Because we claim to be moral beings. We claim to know right from wrong. We claim to be compassionate. And as long as humans make these claims, I'm going to be in everyone's face and say, you can't do it halfway. The path to peace is through veganism. So it's logical to want to be vegan, to want to reduce and eliminate pain and suffering.
Once I point it out to people, most people, sane people, logical people, make that next step.
It's thrilling to know that people are paying attention and making massive change.
And as we go back in time and look at all the other people that we adore now, collectively, we all agree, Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King, and all these people, Rosa Parks and Cesar Chavez, they were not loved during their time. They were despised. They wanted to make change, massive change. It's only later on that a society looks back at revolutionary activists and says, oh, man, he was great. He was just trying to bring peace and justice.
This stuff has to stop.
Believe me, if slaughterhouses had glass walls, we wouldn't be having this debate tonight. You see, I believe another world is possible. And on a quiet night, I can hear her breathing. Let's get animals off the menu and out of these torture chambers. Please vote tonight for those who have no voice. Thank you.
Vegan YouTubers will save the world because they speak the truth. You can start learning about the truth by going to their links below or to my website, onesingleact.org. Thank you.